Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to be reviewing parts 1 and 2 of The 10th Planet, which of course is the first Doctor's final story, and also the first story for the Cybermen. Now, I've always preferred the front half of this story. It's really good, there's a lot going on, it's a nice mystery, I like the set design, I love the Cybermen, and Hartnell's putting in a good performance in these first two parts. The story, it's always the back half of the story that's a little more problematic to me, and I'll get to that when I review those two parts in the next review. But starting off strong here, I like them being in the Arctic. The shots of them being in the Arctic are done well. The sets look really good there. I like them being all bundled up when they go in. It's interesting how the Cybermen don't really make an appearance till the end of episode 1. It's more the mystery of what's going on driving episode 1, with, of course, the Doctor showing up in this kind of secure military spot in the Arctic where they're not supposed to be. How did they get there? Why are they there? Who are they? That thing we see a lot in Doctor Who when they get captured by a military group and they're like, what are you doing here? Who are you? How did you get here? Rah, 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 rah. The guy playing the general really is that kind of stereotypical hard-ass character, I guess, for lack of a better term. You know, I'm the general, blah, blah, blah. What are you doing here? Rabble, rabble, rabble. Some of the other military officers are pretty good. Like I said, the guest cast are fine. It's a shame that we lost a couple of them right there at the end of episode 1. Getting knocked out in the snow and then just left in the snow. I really like the Cybermen design. I love the Mondasian Cybermen. The way their costume is designed, the way they're written, the voice, that iconic voice that comes out of the Cybermen. It's one of the greatest voices the Cybermen have ever had. Certainly the most creepy voice they've ever had. But it's easier to understand than some of the other 60s Cybermen stories when they talk and I'm sitting there going, come again? I can actually understand what they're saying. And I love the fact that it's pretty much just the Cyberman opens his mouth and that voice comes out sounding completely automated. Like, you know, and the voice comes out talking in that monotone voice. I love that. That's so well done. I love the fact the Cybermen are taller too. You don't always notice it in every shot, but they are abnormally tall. I actually really like that too, showing just how much of them is artificial. I love that it gives time to explain that they've removed weaknesses. Like it even mentions, don't you have a heart? No, that was deemed one of the weaknesses. So they don't even have hearts. They don't have lungs. That's what this part here acts as. To realize just how much of their humanity they've given away. And the fact that we established Mondas was a twin of Earth. You know, even the same land masses, and that, of course, the Cybermen used to be people, but just over the course of time, they've learned to prolong their life doing this. I think it's less because of them running out of reserve and more just they learned how to do that, and it slowly became more and more and more over time. I like that idea more than I do something like, say, spare parts. I didn't really care for the spare parts audio. Very overrated. So I really like the Cybermen in this. They come across as being very alien, which in a way they are. I like the performance of them. They have that very robotic way they move, and they're just terrifying. The Cybermen are never more terrifying than they are here. Again, that look. The 60s Cybermen never looked this good after this. And I like some of the other designs, especially the Invasion. Matter of fact, the Invasion, Revenge of the Cybermen design is my favorite Cybermen design, but they never look as scary good as they do here. Because you have to sit there and wonder what they look like under that mask. Do you want to know? I don't want to know, but you think about it. It gets in your head. What is left of them in that suit? And it's creepy. It's genuinely creepy. I love the fact they're bulletproof. None of the weapons work on them. None of the silly things that work on them later, you know, like the stuff they use in the moon base, the little solvents, the gold. You know, here their weakness is mainly just their own weapon being used against them. And bullets have no effect. I like that. I like the fact they're more indestructible here. Hartnell's putting in a good performance. I like the fact that he knows kind of what's going on, which really feeds into a fan theory my friend Alexa has, that the Doctor actually alters history here, that originally this did not end well for Earth one way or another, that even if we won it, we came out worse off. And this is one of the early instances of the Doctor actively changing history, because he already knows when they are, because he saw it on the calendar. They're in the far-off future of December 1986. Can you imagine what December 1986 must be like? So he knows exactly the time he is, and he knows ahead of time it's Mondas, because he actually drew the planet on there and handed it to the guy. So it's like he has foreknowledge of the events coming. He seems to... And on one hand, he doesn't quite seem to know the Cybermen, because he's like, have you no emotions, sir? That very famous speech. On the other hand, he does seem to kind of know them later. I don't think you should have done that to the Cybermen. So that's kind of up in the air, but I think it's a neat fan theory that he actually changes history here, because he has some foreknowledge of what's about to happen. Ben's getting to do some cool fighting, Ian/Jamie/Ben stuff, which I like. Grabbing the gun off the Cyberman after he blinds him with the movie projector and shooting him. Even though he feels remorse at having to do it, because this could be the first time Ben's had to kill something. So it's nice that he's human and he does what he needs to do, but he doesn't want to do it. Even though it's just a Cyberman, he feels guilty about killing it. I like that little character development. Polly's not really having a lot to do here. She is getting some dialogue. Some of that dialogue could have just been given to Hartnell instead, but I like the fact some of it's given to Polly when she's asking questions about emotions and saying, that's horrid that you don't have feelings. But I'm really liking parts 1 and 2. I've seen the story several times before, or a few times before, but these are definitely the strongest 2 parts of the story. The cliffhanger for episode 1 is really good, basically with the Cybermen showing up, leading you going, what the heck is this? And then, right here at part 2, with the general worried about rescuing his son. Also a good cliffhanger when you see the whole fleet of ships arriving. Good cliffhangers. It's a shame the rest of the story doesn't hold up, but we'll get to that in that review. So I want to know what you think of the 10th planet, and what your favorite parts of it are. What do you think its strengths are? What you think its weaknesses are? So comment down below and let me know. This was actually a... excuse me. This was actually a Patreon and YouTube members video. I did a poll asking which Doctor they wanted me to review. They picked the first. I did a poll from what season they wanted me to review it from, and they picked season 4. Even though that only had 2 choices. I'm going to be honest, I was not expecting that. I was expecting seasons 1, 2, 3. I put season 4 on there as a lark, because it's just the smugglers and the 10th planet. I didn't think they'd pick it. They did. So... the lesson I learned there is, if there's something I really don't want to review, don't make an option for it. I actually had to do a video on the Patreon and for the YouTube members exclusively, having a laugh about that. That was pretty funny. And then, of course, they had to pick between the smugglers and the 10th planet. They picked the 10th planet, so we are going to be watching and reviewing the 10th planet. If you would like to vote in one of those polls, I have a link to my Patreon down in the description below. So a link to the Patreon is down there below if you would like to vote in the polls yourself, and if you would like to support me on that. If not, just, hey, clicking the like button and the subscribe button, that helps me out, and I certainly appreciate it. YouTube memberships are available. My P.O. box is down there in the description if you want to send anything for me to look at and review. Links to my Amazon wish list are down there as well. Most importantly, thank you for watching.